Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Centralist. Hope everyone's having a beautiful rainy afternoon wherever you're evening. It's raining here in the south. I was just talking with Laura Lee. It's up in Thunder Bay. It's raining up there as well. So it's bottom
Thunder.
from the bottom of the United States all the way up in the freaking Canada. It's raining. I know I started some friends of mine in Europe earlier today. It's raining. For a good chunk of the world, it's a rainy evening or rainy morning, right afternoon. So I hope y'all enjoy it. I like the rain, even though we've out of the last 50 days, we've had 35 days of rain. It's weird though in the South because starting mid June, beginning of July, all the way until September, it rains every day, without fail, every day. Big bad thunder boomers from about 2 o'clock in the afternoon to about 4 o'clock. It just thunders on everybody, just rain soaks everybody down, and the humidity comes up to 100% and bakes us all alive. It's like the poppin' doughboys or some shit. People like, and if you're a girl with straight hair, it goes frizzy, and if you're a girl with frizzy hair, guess what? It goes straight. It's like an equalizer. It's a crazy place to live. But I'm gonna turn y'all over to Michael Angley for a second. He'll introduce the crew, and I'll be right back. Dell's out. We have Mobile Dell tonight, by the way. So
Mobile Dell.
We got out of the cage Dell. He's on the loose. If y'all see Laura Lee dash off later, it's because she's going chasing. But anyway, let me turn over to Mike, and I'll be right back while I turn this over to the rest of the world.
Michael Angley here. So, of course, I've got Discovery Paranormal every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on United Public Radio Network, and I've got the Red Pill News every Thursday, 8 p.m. on United Public Radio Network. And tonight we're talking about stuff. We're waiting for Dell to get struck by lightning because that would be kind of interesting, man. It'd be shocking. And we got Laura Lee. She's going to talk about whatever she wants to talk about, man. And we got the other mystery Dell in there, the one Dell's alter ego, I think, or something going on. And we have two Joe Montaldos. Man, I'm overwhelmed.
We got a whole rack of people.
Laura Lee, there's only one of us.
Because we're special.
We're special. We're special. But I love the lightning, and I haven't had too much here in Ithaca. And it's been like really years since we've had a rockin' and a thunderstorm, and that's very bizarre. But then I watched the Weather Channel. I always watch what's going to happen where Joe is, because if he's out, we're out, and they're getting 8 inches of rain or something like that. So you can have it, man. You can have it. But how you guys doing tonight?
Good. It's I can see a few lights with Dell, not much. There's a thunder and lightning. It's not called Thunder Bay for nothing. You got two Canadians and 2 Americans tonight. And as Joe put on the post tonight, I'm sharing it right now. He said, "Please save the Canadians," and he's right.
I've seen your pictures of Thunder Bay, man. It's such a beautiful area, absolutely gorgeous. It really is. And I know it's a little challenging weather-wise, but it seems like everything kind of comes through there, the cold weather and all that. You get your Arctic blasts, right?
Well, kind of.
A little bit. I don't like it anyway here in New York, in Ithaca, and we don't get that extreme. We used to, and the weather's changed. You know what? Last 10, 15 years, things have actually, I remember when I first moved up here, we had days 20, 25 below zero, in the winter, and have hot days in the summer. Now it barely goes over 100, barely goes below zero.
Must be nice. We go anywhere from minus 55, and there's no difference Fahrenheit and Celsius, up to sometimes with the humidex well over 100.
Yeah. You get the baseball bat-sized mosquitoes up there too, though, right?
That's true. Yeah, but we're also under an extreme heat warning there too. That's why we're probably getting this huge electrical storm coming through.
Mm-hmm.
I know the fearless leader of New York State, Cuomo, said there's going to be the first heat wave that we're going to get. So for me here, I think it's going to be maybe 91, which isn't really hot. I don't think that's hot, but in the city, when it's 100 and all that, metal and glass and all that stuff, man, it gets oppressive. I hear myself.
You can hear you, yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's so I had
echo. So what are we working on? What are we doing, man? Joe took off. We're going to talk about Joe Biden's first 100 days.
Yeah, there we go. We're back. Okay. Yeah, we're going to definitely talk about that. Yeah, I had to go. I wanted to just make sure all the others heard.
Just said hi. He said he was from the Red Pill News. I guess we'll throw on quick. I'm from the Angel Rock nights. Trip in the Void Tuesday nights. Deli, you want to tell them where you were?
Yep, Tuesday nights at 9 Eastern, the delicious recipe. We talk about mystery, conspiracy, world issues, everything like that. We throw it all in the pot, doesn't matter what it is, and we see how it tastes at the end.
We got to throw a happy birthday to Sean Kelly too from
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Chasing Prophecy. It's his birthday tonight.
Oh, is it? Well, happy old People's Day. You know, actually, it should be Happy Young People's Day because old people don't really count birthdays. They just kind of like, birthday. What's that?
You sound like Andrew Cuomo. Old people don't count. Like, yeah, I
Some
only
people
lied.
like that.
I only
All
lied to
them damn
protect the
people.
truth. I love
I
that
did.
one.
I only lied to protect the truth.
I only
you know?
lied to protect the truth, man. I'm going to use that one day, and I'm going to give him credit.
But look. So we got the triad right. So we got Como, we got Newsom, we got Pelosi. There you go. You get your little devil's triangle. And of course, then you got the other little devil's triangle, which of course has Kamala and Joe Biden and Schumer. So, I mean, it's like some.
Well, I was talking to one of my
evil power
sisters
thing.
earlier. She lives in Arizona. She's very much conservative, but she's conservative. She didn't like Trump though, but she's a conservative. Tried and true. But like Biden, I'm like, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, because Trump is talking about running with what's his face from Florida, Sanford, right? And DeSantos. Yeah. So. I mean, is it Joe Biden? I mean, Joe Biden 4 years, 3 years from now, you think he's going to make it? And Kamala, she's not presidential material. No, it seems like their house of cards are going to fall apart. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's already fell apart, but we'll have to wait.
Well, that was an interesting thing is that with Kamala Harris is that at the beginning, it was sort of made to seem that she was going to be in charge of the border. Then she said, like about 2 days after that, she says, well, I'm just going to be the PR representative of the border. And then now she's off. I think there was a meme or something like that she's off drinking wine and enjoying the sunshine, laughing at the people running across the border. So I'm not sure how great of a VP that was elected down in the States, but I haven't heard anything besides that of her in the news that she does anything. Have you guys heard anything that what Kamala Harris does?
It was Memorial Day. She didn't even honor the troops and make mention of them like nothing. She's vice president.
People, I thought y'all knew her job. Her job is not her job. Her job is to stand behind Biden and make sure he's saying the right thing.
Joe, my job is fake
clean
outrage,
up his
and
little.
I'm pissed
No,
off.
listen. I mean, when he dribbles, she's got to clean it off his little cheeks. She's basically his nursemaid, is what she is.
Okay, so Dan Glazer on Facebook says their administration is a disaster.
It is right now. Well, I was listening to him today, trying to take credit. He goes, "See how the economy's supposed to work." And even the news guys kind of like, "Really, dude? You've been president for 100 days. You gonna take Trump's economy? No, dude. We know what your economy was like under. See, that's his problem. Everybody remembers Obama's 8 years of 1.3.
Oh, you caught that? You caught when Obama was like, "He's finishing what I started." I was like, I made a comment on Twitter. I'm like, to destroy America, man.
And that's exactly the point. But Biden, Yeltsin said the other day, she goes, well, this isn't going to work because she's on Biden's economy plan, because if it goes through, so it's going to stagger our growth to about 1.3 to 1.7. We can't do that. Everybody plan, even Russia will pass us up. I mean, Jesus. I mean, what kind of crack are these people on?
I got to tell you guys this. This is funny. Dan Glazer has a perfect name for Biden. President Brain Damage.
President Drunk, according to his. So that's how bad his mental facilities are. That his press secretary came out and says he likes to have some nips at lunchtime.
Oh, did you hear the last part where he talked there on camera there, and he mentions the little girl there sitting in the audience there, says, "Oh, I guess she was like 11 years old." Says, "Oh, looking so adult there with your legs crossed over and looking all nice and perky," or whatever it was.
Yeah, he likes that, man.
Oh man, he's such a sick. And what gets me is the media and people just let it slide. And you got to wonder right now why the libs even let it slide, because, Biden, I mean, Trump's not president right now, so you're just letting this pervert in office? I mean, God.
Yeah. His son brags about smoking crack with Marion Barry,
the mayor of D.C. Yeah, but it looks like his son might be going to jail. They're trying to do everything they can. Right now, they're trying to swing the investigation off of him and onto the company. But the company lawyers are like, whoa. What do you mean he wasn't in charge? He most certainly was in charge. You better go look at the paperwork. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to go down without a fight. See, unfortunately for little Joe, is the problem for him is these companies got big attorneys with lots of money, and they're not just going to go down. They're just not going to let the president bury them. And since they're not all based out the United States, it's not going to be that easy to just say, "Oh, you're going to have to do it." No, they're going to be like, "No, no, we don't actually." We see what happened when we tried to bring Russia to.
Do you think there, Joe, that during this thing there is that why the news media got so uppity and we're all focused on this UFO disclosure, which is supposed to come out on June 25th of this month, is because they're trying to take away and put focus on away from Joe Jr. there or crackhead?
Well, no,
Joe?
no. The UFO stuff is just coincidental because Trump's the one who did this. Trump snuck this in on everybody. Nobody even knew this was going on. When Trump was doing the last, what was it, $1 trillion bill we did, he snuck this in as part of the bill. He said, no, y'all have to disclose whatever you've had for X amount of time, no matter what. He did it in such a way, the reason he put it in the bill, because if he'd have done it as an executive order, Biden could have overturned it. But by putting it in the bill, Biden can't go back and overturn the bill. He can't overturn Congress like that. And if he did, he would have had to pay everything back, and that was just never going to happen. So, but I heard today there's been a couple of big leaks, and basically they're going to say that UFOs exist, but they're not alien. Is what the actual.
What are they then? Figments of our imagination.
I said the same. She's preaching to the choir here, but they said that the official statement is going to be that yes, they are. We don't know what they are, but they're not extraterrestrial. So
advanced.
Not exactly how you know they're not.
The pygmies, man, they kind of hid out and they got this nice technology. Pygmies.
Well, going with Dan said in the room, I mean, they are trying to hide the border problem. Kamala is a disaster. She don't want to take on this because this is going to be her. And I understand her point of view on this. Taking on the border problem, if you can't fix it, which right now it doesn't look fixable, this is going to hang you. This is going to be the noose around your neck for the rest of your career. So,
especially since they complained about it.
Yeah,
I mean, they ranted about it.
Oh yeah, they did. Trump. So now it's a disaster, and it's official now that, and as was it yesterday, it's official now that the state in Mexico thing is over. Biden made sure it was over. So now there's no money going down to Mexico. There's no reason to do it. And all Texas is doing anymore is picking them up, putting them on a bus, riding around and dropping them back off at the border again. Right. And of course, they're just going down the road, going back around, and coming back over the border again. It's ridiculous, and it shouldn't go on. And no governor of a state in this country should have to put up with this.
Right.
It's also
the thing is, if their problem is that they have to go and agree that fixing border security and finishing off the wall is the be all to the end all of correcting this thing. They can't go and admit to this because they fought against this so hard to get elected. But years before, when it was Democrats in there, they were looking at fixing the border wall and increasing border security. But as soon as Trump came in, they did a 180 and said, oh, no, we need to open borders, right? And now they're seeing that they need border security.
The Southwest has so many challenging things happening. They have a water shortage, which is major. They have cartels coming over the border, doing business, whatever they want. They leave them alone. They even have signs up that if you see speeding vans, don't get out of their way and all the other stuff. And then you get this, the crisis of people coming over, and then a lot of them have COVID too. I mean, COVID's out of control in Mexico, and also in South America. It's really ravaged. They're calling the Indian variant now the Delta variant because they don't like the word India, and India sued. I don't know who they sued, but they're changing it. So now we got the Delta, and the Delta is taking over, like the English one did, right? But it's the recipe of disaster, and I don't get the whole U.S. take the masks off now. I think they want power. They love power. They love this emergency use power, and they have a pandemic going.
Well, they've
they
done
can
it
keep
here,
that.
Michael.
Yep, look at Canada. I mean, so we got free Canada.
Free
I
to
want to
Canadians,
add one
baby.
thing quickly. I found out today there's a woman that's quite loud from the opposition. Trudeau is traveling internationally, but he announced this in the press. He refuses to stay in his COVID hotels that he charges the Canadian taxpayers $2,000 to stay for 3 days at least or longer at your expense. He will not stay in there. So why do we have to pay for an upscale special hotel for you when you make the rest of us stay there? So there you go.
It's supposed to be landed a free Canada. You know what I mean? Like that's where everybody used to threaten to go to from the U.S. to be freer. Is Canada? Ain't like that anymore. You guys ruined it.
No.
Oh man, they used to go up there because we used to not have extradition with Canada, but we do now. So,
Well, what are
Well,
they
actually,
doing?
that's not even
What are they
happening with
saying about your
that
lockdown?
VP of Huawei. She's still sitting in Vancouver, walking around there with a little tag on her ankle, while the other two
yeah, they won't let
Michaels
her go.
from
Y'all
Canada
won't.
are still in China's
See,
jails there.
and that's what's going to confuse you about this whole thing. Because the U.S. won't come get her, but we won't let y'all give her back. But yet, y'all could give her back without asking us because y'all have her, not us.
But they're
But for
not
some
letting
reason,
go.
but you're over there, you're sucking ass with China. But then all of a sudden, no, you're slapping China in the face and
Well-
saying, I'm confused.
Mike,
I mean, it's like America now. One hand's going, I love you, and the other hand's just.
well, Michael, you asked what's going on, and people didn't believe me because our premier, which is like the governor, Slug Ford, as I call him, he made an announcement because this is extreme lockdown, most extreme we've ever been in, was supposed to, it started right after Easter. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be 4 weeks. He extended it 2 weeks. Now that was May 20th. It was supposed to end. Then he was talking about a slow reopening. Then he had a secret meeting in Toronto. It's called Mini Queens Park. It's like the little parliament, I guess, for Ontario. And they didn't even have a quorum. 66 members of our parliament did not go in to vote. And he has power now to do this till December 1st.
Wow.
People wouldn't believe me. I was getting all kinds of flack. I found out 5 minutes after, and now they believe me because it's coming out. We've got one member of parliament that's left. Both
You see that I Love Whitey people did a petition for 1 million of them signed that Canada's got to open its border.
good.
I was like, yeah, no, actually, it's more than that now because they're starting to get business pressure. So,
Well, he lied. He lied out in public. He said he was going to reopen slowly. And then now he's got power to do this till December. There's no more talk of a slow reopening. We've got one member of parliament that's left both parties and is actually fighting for the people, Randy Hillier. But what can one guy do?
well, y'all gonna have elections soon enough. Just get rid of all
He
of them.
canceled the election.
Just
Yeah.
get rid.
He canceled the election. We're not.
That's not. He can't be able to do that for long. Though. Even the United States ain't gonna put up with that for long.
Well,
We'll
he
be like,
canceled-
whoa, we'll be like, you can't be doing it. You see, we go stick our nose in Africa. You know, we ain't gonna let it happen in Canada. We're gonna be like, whoa, wait a minute, pink shorts. We gotta have a little talk. Well, you know, Biden, y'all might have to be stuck for another 3 years because Biden, I don't know what he's gonna do. He's a Biden, Mike, because Biden's weird. I told everybody this in the beginning. Biden's got his own agenda he wants to do, and his party wants him to do this, and Kamala wants him to do this.
Remember what he wants to do.
No, he does actually. He does. Let me tell you something about Biden. This is what people don't understand about Biden. Biden has an agenda because he was so pissed. He said this himself. His first 4 years, he felt like an Obama lackey. All he did was run around, just basically kiss Obama's ass and all Obama's agenda. He had stuff he wanted to get done. Obama told him no. Second term, he tried to get more done, but he still couldn't. So that's why when he came in this one, that's why he came in shooting. He knew what he wanted. He was going to get rid of everything Trump, just like Trump got rid of everything Obama, which backfired on both of them. But still, he was going to do it. And he wants certain things. And that's why AOC and them are like, we're going to get the Green Deal. And Biden's like, you think you are really? I'm not quite as old as you think I'm, dumbass. And he moves on. And I've watched him. I knew this when he was coming in. And he did something. I didn't catch it in the beginning, but I did later on. He pulled a McCain. And he used his age and his imbecility to garner votes and to help him to get away with shit. And he still does it. But more and more Americans are catching on now. And that's why what's her name said, yeah, it's not so much that he's just a retard, is that, he likes to sip his little afternoony, whatever you want to call him.
His little sippy.
Whatever the hell he's drinking. God knows, it might be some liquid marijuana. I mean, after all, marijuana is legal in D.C., so he might be having a little liquid sunshine for lunch. And he acts like it some days, but other days I've heard him give some speeches lately. He's been clear-headed. He's been on point. I didn't agree with what he was saying, but he has been there, and he's starting to feel like he's president now, and he does have an agenda. People don't realize it, but he's got his own agenda. He don't give a shit what the party wants. He don't give a shit what AOC wants. He don't give it. And actually, somebody asked him the other day about reprimanding, what's her name, the Muslim chick, and he said, "I'm all for that." So that's anti his party, and he was all up Como's ass, and then all of a sudden I noticed he kind of started slacking back on Como a little bit, but he likes Como and he likes Newsom, so he might try to stand up for him. He don't like Mr. Pink Shorts, so y'all might get lucky. And he might
What
put
about the
pressure
part
on
there
them.
is that I saw when I clicked back into the news feeds again that he's supposed to go meet with Russia there, the
Real
CIA
soon.
operative,
Yeah.
and basically he said is that hey, what's his name from Russia there?
Putin.
Putin
Yeah.
says, "Hey, I'm not going to put up with any of your guys, your BS there. Like, you're not coming over here and calling me a killer and all that stuff there, Biden. Like, what are you doing?" So I'm not sure
Yeah.
that Biden can actually talk one on one with Putin. Like,
No,
I
see,
don't think he
Putin,
has that foray or
Putin.
strongness.
Well, the difference is this is one of the things, and you can tell this right off the bat. And this poor Democrats just blew up in their face. They were trying to do a study saying that when Republicans are in office, our country and the world is more violent. Come to find out that is not true. It's the other way around. So, like under Obama, there was 162 what they called mass shootings. Under Trump, there was hardly any. And Biden's already broke Trump's record only 3 months in. So it shows you the difference right there. And worldwide, violence goes up. So Trump comes in, Kim Jong Un, and then he stops in the Middle East starts flamming, and then they stop. Because one thing you could count on with Trump, he didn't want to start any wars; he wanted to end them. But the son of a bitch would bomb your ass, and you knew it once he said it. And he proved his point with the submarine that day. He said, "Oh yeah, watch this," and emptied the entire missile load out of the submarine on your asses. He said, "I'm not playing with y'all. If I coming after you, I'm coming after you full force." That made Putin and Ping go, "Oh, wait a minute now. This dude's going to commit to anything he does." You don't want America committing to anything. You don't want us committing all of our resources and all of our money to anything because we're going to wipe something off the face of the planet if we do it. It might even be our own selves, but we're going to wipe something off the face of the planet. So, and the Middle East has learned that, and most of the world has now. So it's just. But when you get a president like Obama who just was a coward, did things from behind, over 25,000 people and 10,000 drone sorties, men, women, and children. Trump didn't believe in that kind of stuff. That's cowardly shit. If you're going to go out there and fight, Obama, I'm going to end all the wars. He didn't end them. He escalated them all. It's just sad that we that other countries have to look at us like that. And under Obama, China bloomed because there was no restrictions. They didn't get slapped. Their economy was going to surpass America's really quick. And then Trump came in and said, "No, it's not. Let me show you what's
Well,
going to happen here."
concurrently, in the midst
Yeah.
of all this, you have India and China about to go to war. So if you
Yeah.
add that into the mix with COVID, with Russia COVID numbers going up, I mean, it's all happening right in front of our face. You
I
know,
got my
all this stuff.
Turkish weapon right here. I'm ready.
It's been prophesized.
I got my Turkish 9mm ready to
It
go
was
over there.
it was
Battlefield tested.
Dell prophesized it with that Crown Royal on his birthday, man.
That's
I
right.
saw those cans.
Dun,
How
dun,
many cans did you
Yeah.
put down that day?
I don't know. I think there was like 11.
He
Oh,
was
Well,
thirsty,
take
man. He
me,
was
and I couldn't
thirsty.
put him in the cage.
But he had about 7 of them.
It was his birthday, so I couldn't put him
That's
in
right.
the cage.
No, he was thirsty. He was
no.
thirsty. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
you
saying.
could a little extra wee pads, but all
Um,
right,
wait,
a couple
damn it.
layers.
He
Come here,
did get his
emails.
birthday present. It finally came. We've only been waiting for how long, Del? 8 weeks from Amazon?
Yeah, well, yeah, that took a month. This
That was
is
no, it was
this is a
longer than
crazy
that.
thing
It was
about.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah, this is a crazy thing. Like we've talked about this on me and Laura there many times. You're gonna have to see how shipping is gonna go. Like you have all these companies like Amazon that stuff had gone through COVID about all these supply chains being slow, and we noticed it up here in Canada that a lot of things that were coming in, a lot of stuff still comes from China, and it is very delayed still,
I'll,
like a month to get an item. Like
I'll
it's
add
like
this out
wow.
there. It's mainly Canada. I mean, I sell camera lenses sometimes, like to buy and sell. I sold to a guy up in Toronto. I'm maybe 3.5 hours away driving time. It took 3 weeks, and I sent it priority. And then the post office service here, well, it got to the border the same day, but they hold on to it, and it's like, what is the purpose? It's it doesn't make any sense.
In a show, the Canadian border, I said to Del, I don't know why they show us. They show us exactly what they do, and it's a so-called reality show. They show you behind the scenes.
Yeah, border
You
security.
see why it takes as long as it does, because what they do, they might as well still tuck a firstborn child in there with it by the time you get it.
Right.
Bad. Mm-hmm.
See now look, while y'all were talking, this came in. Somebody sent me this in my email. So the president of Mexico is saying that what's the name of Arbor Radar told Harris the U.S. is promoting coup plotters against him to get him out of power. So now this guy who's a liberal, who put up with Trump. I mean, they weren't friends or nothing, but they managed to work together. Now we got liberals in office, and he can't get along with them. Well, they can't get along with him. I mean, he's already on Harris. He's blaming this on Kamala. He's calling her out on this. He's also calling her out on why isn't she down doing something about the problems coming up through his country. He's talking about closing the borders. Where Mexico's kind of bottlenecks down at the bottom. They're talking about putting their own wall up there and stopping them right there, which means everybody will have to come in by boat after that, or unless they're coming from Mexico itself.
So what do you think about this there, Joe? Is that we've had whatever, it's over 100 days around that Biden has been in office in the U.S. and under this huge restriction and this epidemic that's going on there. How many times has Biden actually addressed publicly the population of the U.S.? What is it, 3 in 100 days?
Yeah, it's 3 or 4 now. He in the last couple of weeks he's done it like 3 times, but he went like 45 days without saying anything, and then he went another 15 or 20 without saying anything, and then finally that picked up a little bit when we got into this last bit. But that's only because he's trying to take responsibility for the economy. But even the economists are like, no, dude, it's not your economy. This is still Trump's economy. The economy was booming before COVID hit, and even with COVID, it still managed to keep going. So it says a lot about what Trump did. But if Biden keeps doing what he wants, because Yeltsin's talking, or Yeltsin, whatever her name is talking about, we may see inflation like we haven't seen since the day. Yeah. And then Biden's saying I created more than Ronald Reagan. I'm like, dude, what? I said, first off, Trump created more than Ronald Reagan, so why didn't you say that? And secondly, why are you trying to take credit for something Reagan did? I mean, it cracks me up that here we are 40 years after Reagan, and he's still a threat to the Democrats.
Because that's what he remembers. That's what he's old. I mean, that's his days of he served during Reagan. I mean, that's what he remembers. Like, that's why these guys always reference moon pies and things, like stuff people haven't heard about in a long time. But he's old, man. He's old, but Kamala, she's not good. She's not presidential material. That's why she wants to run away. She's vice president in name only. And then she wants to just glide.
Because let's be honest. I have never seen a vice president. I've been around a few years now. I have never seen a vice president stay up the president's ass like she does. Usually, especially in the first 2 or 3 years, he or she or whatever it is off doing whatever the president's bidding is, putting out this fire, putting out that fire, talking to this one, talking. That's what their job is. And Biden's actually assigned her a couple of jobs. She's just refused to do them. I've never seen a VP. I thought you got fired if you refuse. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, Kamala Harris is not an elected official. Biden is. Biden chose Kamala, so he can always fire her ass. So I don't know about it. And then she got all offended because somebody called her a black woman the other day. And she corrected him. No, she corrected him. She said, well, whatever she said she was from. And and if that would have been anybody that supported Trump, they'd have went apeshit. But I've been noticing this on TikTok and quite a few other places, Instagram. There are a lot of blacks coming out against Biden all of a sudden. Now, to all my black friends out there, all I can say is I told you so.
Well,
Trump was a pain in the ass, but Biden's an idiot. Go ahead,
this is the point that I was trying to make here, is that you think that during this epidemic that has happened and the economy and stuff like that, if you were a strong leader to show leadership and to go and make America great again, not using take the word from Trump's things there, but to do that, you would be in the face of the public the whole time, telling them what's going on and how you're doing this to make it better. The only person that did that was Trump. Biden went sleepy by and hid in the basement for 100 days.
And what got me is this would have been a great opportunity. Yeah, and I agree with you. And this would have been a great opportunity for Kamala. She could have been out instead of having what's her name? What's his press secretary's whatever the little chick's name is. Yeah, she instead of having out there, you could have Kamala out there getting some real good FaceTime, making some impression on the country, saying this. There were ways to fix this border crisis before they let it get stupid. But now they're just letting it get stupid, and you've got so many people coming, because I'm watching in Texas and New Mexico, we're just sending them back, and they're saying that's only a third of what's getting through. And then some of them are coming in applying. It's a nightmare, and sooner or later it's good. Like Texas is talking about deploying the National Guard along the border and making the country pay for it. because they won't do anything about it. And I'm like, well, hey, that works for me. Put them down there, but. And if they do it, that means New Mexico and Arizona will do it. So probably Nevada. So that just leaves California. So I'll live in California, and everybody else is moving out of California. So it'd be perfect. It'd be like Little Mexico. Actually, it might be like Big Mexico if you get enough of them there.
Well, if you go back, what is it, about 250 years ago, Mexico actually went all the way up.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. So they will have conquered it without actually having to go to war. So it works out good for everybody. And eventually the demographics will change because. Hispanics are funny. When they come here, a lot of times they vote liberal like their first election or two. But then after that, they tend to swing back conservative because most of them are very religious to start off with. And religious people tend to have more conservative views. So, they feel obligated. Because I talked to a couple of my friends about this, and they said, no, we feel obligated. But after that, Jay, we're kind of like, okay, yeah.
Not Jews. Jewish people are all Democrat, for as far as I know.
Not anymore. They're not. They're not. They're changing. This was out. The Democrats actually put this out. So under Obama, they lost 1/3 of their of the Democrats. After letting Omar and Eminem, they've lost about half, but they still pull more than 51%, somewhere at like 54, 55 of them still vote Democrat. And the other ones, for some reason, I don't think actually vote, or they don't vote enough of them vote or something. Because I watched the whole damn thing, but it was boring as all hell.
It was crazy. There's only a little more than 4 million Jewish people in all of U.S.
Yeah, but they have an impact on people.
Yeah, but you think that it would be so much more since they do have so much power. It's very interesting if you think about it.
Well, there's a lot of part Jewish people too, right? That are claim that they're Jewish through Jewish heritage, right?
I mean, there's like in the city, we got like a lot of Hasidic Jews in huge communities, and they kind of just keep to themselves, but it's just very interesting. But they mainly vote Democrat. Even after Jewish people have been attacked, I mean, they still vote Democrat. It's just, I guess that's just the way it goes.
Let's see.
And didn't William Shatner say that he's Jewish?
Yeah.
Like everybody in Hollywood everybody was Jewish.
But you see,
Star Trek.
I pulled it up. I pulled it up by the states. Jewish populations by state. So in the states like California, 40,000 of them that can turn an election. Colorado, 11,000 of them could possibly help an election. Here you go. Illinois, 95,000 that can definitely turn an election. Indiana, 25,000 that can definitely turn an election. Maryland, 35,000 in little ass Maryland. Mass, 20,000. Yeah, see, they can make a difference. Missouri, 35,000. I mean, that's definitely can make a difference in going on. And that was I'm sorry, that was in 1899. I ain't reading current population. So the current population.
Well, now you have the exodus. You got a California and New York exodus to escape taxes. I'm doing the same thing. I mean, it's ridiculous what I pay in taxes in New York. There's no call for it, as a matter of fact. It's just a state that's trying to keep you down. There's a fee for everything. There's a tax for everything. Who the hell wants to live like that?
New York's got 1.7, almost 1.8 million Jews, and California's got 1.18 million. So, yeah, they definitely make a difference. I didn't realize it went up that much. Last time I had seen the census, it was smaller than this, but they're definitely going up. Almost 8 million in the country now, so that's double their population. So I mean that's good. I mean, but if they need to get out that, but I have noticed if you look at the census, a lot of them are moving to red states and voting red.
Yep.
So out of that census you got there, Joe, how many Asian people are in the states?
Oh, it's not. This is just for Jews. It's not.
Oh, they're just for.
Yeah, it's just Jewish population in the United States, state by state. And actually, this isn't even a census. I apologize. This is from the Jewish Virtual Library. The project they call Project Alice. It's where it's a virtual library they've been having online.
A Chinese company.
You can look at it. There's. Oh, sorry, Michael. You can look at it like this, right? At the beginning time, it was all Europeans coming to North America. A lot of that, and now over the past, I guess, 100 or less than 100 years, it's been a lot of Asian countries and South American countries coming into North America. Yeah. It's sort of taken over the I guess the European population.
Yeah, it's weird how migration happens in our country because you had the original migration from Europe to here, and then you had one South America migration up, and then we had, of course, the forced migration of Africans from Africa to the United States. And then you had another European migration to the United States. And then it's weird. It just like switches around every so often, but they don't all seem to be running at one time, which I guess as Americans we should be grateful for. But the demographics even change amongst the American countries. Like Canada and Mexico and the United States, you'll see that even their way it migrates in their countries, it's like different migrations. Like when Canada was getting a large migrant of Middle Easterns, we were getting
Still
South
are.
Americans.
Still
Yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. We were getting more South Americans. It was just so it's like we're getting inundated from top and bottom. Both countries. It's just it's kind of a bitch the way it works
Our
out.
whole city, and the reason why is they're promised all kinds of money here, and then they come here. Taxpayers pay most of their wages, and companies are hiring them. They only got to pay like 30% of their wages. So, and then Caucasian people or anybody else that's a Canadian citizen, we're not getting jobs because they're getting all the jobs.
Yeah, it's a really weird system that's sort of worked out here in Canada. Well, even in Ontario, we noticed it. First, it was an Asian part there that they were given a lot of money to come over. The government grant money to open up businesses. They would open up a business for about 6 or 7 months. The business would fold, but they'd already brought in a whole bunch of family members over, and the government would give the next family member money. They'd open up a business and now it's happening now with I guess you'd say the Saudi area, India area. That's happening now because in Pakistan and stuff like that, like a huge area here, just even in Thunder Bay, they bought up every single store, and it's unbelievable.
Like we got flyers. Our official languages in Canada are French and English. That's a lot.
And Farsi.
Coming in.
Oh, Mike, the females outnumbers in North America.
No, they were coming in Urdu, like in Urdu and Indian and Pakistani. That's not an official language in Canada yet. Anyways, I don't know. Maybe it's going to be.
Current American population 333 million. Current males 164,682,000. Current females 168, almost 169. Look at that, damn. 3 of that damn girls out breeding this, man. Births today 10,400 births today. 1 million so far this year. We had babies born. Deaths today. Ooh, death rate's on 7,000. So so that's like 1.5 or something.
Yeah, well, I just looked at this last week. It said even in world populations, even during this pandemic that's happened, the world population is still increasing at a 1.4% increase.
That's still pretty good. That's still a pretty good click. I mean, that slowed down.
Scary, man. That's damn scary.
Yeah, but it was like 4 or something. It's so weird because in the civilized, okay, I shouldn't say it's civilized, but in the first world countries, it's usually between 1, 4, and 2. It usually doesn't get any higher than that. Now you get into South America, even parts of Central America. You get into Africa, a couple other part of the Asian countries. It can be as high as 5. That's crazy, and that's how it was in America 150 years ago, 200 years ago. I know the average family was like 8 or 9, but still, man. Today, you can't be having families like that, man. You'd be eating the food. Get off my food, people.
Mm-hmm.
Current people having sex in America, 105 million. Who comes up with these numbers, man? Get out of here.
How did they
right now?
On. That's
that
what
right
said.
now?
That's what it said right now. I was like, come on. I think that maybe 1.5 million might have been closer. But how do I know? I mean, I don't know. All right, who's got TV on or something? I hear something.
Not me.
Not me.
What is that? Maybe it's up playing in one of my.
Delhi must have not turned it off.
Very unprofessional, man.
Oh, is it Dell? I'll find it. I can mute Dell. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, mute him. Mute him.
Well, I don't know if because I've been had all kind of links up. I could have been something playing in the background.
Yeah, maybe it's you.
You never
probably
know.
One of those stupid things that open up, man.
Okay,
I hate that. You go to a website and all these things
for
open.
Nothing.
You muted Dell is untried and convicted.
All he's got to do is let me know. I think he can unmute himself, but if not, he just let me know and I'll unmute him.
So yesterday there was over 4,000 deaths in Mexico from COVID, and usually they're having 300, 400 one day, 4,000. Very interesting what's happening, and I don't know, man. It's just I don't get the whole thing. It hasn't made sense from the beginning, and I'm a numbers person, so I'm just kind of rolling with it. But now, in the vaccinations are down. People think it's over here in the U.S., so they don't want to get vaccinated. Even the ones who got the one shot, they won't go back and get a second because they think they're protected. And I don't know. I see people running around without masks and all that. And I know people who are vaccinated who are still wearing masks because they're afraid. So I think there's no guidance. And Biden, he's an idiot. He's not going to solve any problems.
Well,
Right.
well, Biden don't really want to solve. All their goal was to get rid of Trump at
Yep.
any cost. Now they did it, and they're so surprised they did it. They're not exactly sure what they're supposed to be doing.
They got to work. They got to work now for a living, and they don't know what to do.
Yeah, but I don't know what to do. So they're just in a bind all the way around on this. But I don't know. It's like I was listening to the Mexican president talking about Justin Trudeau the other day. In case, ladies and gentlemen, y'all hear me report Mr. Pink Shorts all the time. That's who I'm actually talking about. Usually I'll call him Justin Castro, but his real name, So anyway, this guy's talking about him like, we make more money than Canada does. We have a larger population in Canada, so he's talking about how much more civilized Mexico is than Canada. And I'm
Mexico.
So I'm thinking to myself, I've been to Mexico a few times. I'm thinking, civilized. Mexico does have a larger population and more money, and they have a bigger GDP. I understand it. But more civilized.
Civilized.
I'm thinking, dude, have you actually traveled around your country before you said this? Because don't get me wrong, Canada's got some vast, untouched land up there that, is crazy as you can get.
French Canadians, man,
But I'm just talking about the tundra and stuff. But
yeah.
But Mexico said, I don't hear about cartels running around killing police officers in Canada, at least not yet. But yet in Mexico, this seems to be a thing, man. This just seems to be a thing in Mexico.
Well, cartels are in control. I mean, everybody.
They're trying to be anyway. Well, the president.
They pretty much are.
No, the president.
They have tanks, man. They got tanks.
Yeah, you see what the president was doing the other day, right? The president of Mexico. He ain't playing with them. If he finds them, he blows the living shit out of them. He was recruiting U.S. people down there to help him. He wants them gone. They don't want to be gone. He was trying to force them down into Central America or something, get him out of his country. But, the cartels went from, marijuana used to be a big thing. Well, it's illegal all over our country now, so it's hard. It's not as much money involved in smuggling marijuana. Maybe cocaine and other things, but the number one thing they smuggle right now is people and babies.
Yeah.
That's what they were saying. So the Border Patrol picks you up. You don't make the list. They bring you back to drop you off. You go give these guys some more money. They bring you back and get you back across, and it's like a vicious cycle. And sometimes you get past them, sometimes you don't. But now Texas and them are starting to put layered security in, so that even if you get past the border, somebody's going to catch you along the way. And if they got rules now that regular police officers, if they stop you and you speak really bad English, they're going to question where you came from. Because in the end, Texas don't want a bunch of them living in this state. They got too many people there now. Texas is basically, we don't want to pass up Florida this way. I mean, California population this way. Because, almost 1 million Californians are moving to Texas. Probably all going to move to Austin, but still.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Texas governor said, you're welcome, but don't come here and be a dumbass.
Even Joe Rogan moved there. There's a whole bunch of people. You're right.
Because Texas is a cool state. And as long as they keep it red, it'll always be a cool state. Once a state goes blue, it becomes a shithole. I'm sorry to my friends in New York. I love New York, but it became a shithole, y'all. It's not my fault. Y'all turned it into a shithole. Wait, don't take my word for it. Look at Illinois. It's another shithole. You want to go out to California? It's another
I know
shithole.
people moving out of Texas, though, so.
No, I don't
because
know,
it's
man.
a shithole.
It was a funny thing is that everything was like when I was growing up back in the 80s, going to high school, and everybody was looking to go to Florida for spring break, Daytona spring break. But I never found out till I was later in my 20s that actually South Padre Island was the place in Texas that was the place to go. It was a lot more. It was like the Wild West.
Yeah, South Padre is a great place, and Texas. But see, it's weird down here in the South because we don't mind sharing, but there are places we like to keep just for the locals as much as possible.
You can't blame them, Joe. Who wants a bunch of drunk people there?
That's just how it is. And what happens is like the Texans, they're okay with like the New Mexico people coming over and the Louisiana people coming over, and maybe some Oklahoma folks. They ain't real keen on Colorados for some reason. They don't like Colorado people for some reason. But they'll let all them come down and hang out there. And that's all cool. Everybody gets along good. You start seeing like yellow license plate with New York City on it. They start taking them to jail. Anything from the Northeast, don't even bother going down there. You're going to get harassed the whole. And if the cops ain't harassing you, the people are going to harass you. They don't want you there. You're not welcome. Don't go there. They got lots of places. They got tourists. They won't bother you. They got tourist areas where all the tourists get together and mingle around and have fun. And that's why New York Cuomo couldn't figure out how the Florida governor was keeping everybody from all of his citizens from getting sick. It was only the tourists. And that's why, because the locals don't hang out where the tourists do. Unless they're just going out partying. They don't do it that way. So,
well, that even goes into the whole part about even entertainment-wise, too, is that this is a thing that a lot of people have noticed over the past 10 years, is that where California was the hub and New York was the hub for entertainment, is that because of the internet and YouTube and podcasts, TikTok and whatever else and everything like that, you don't have to be in those two locations anymore. You can be anywhere else in the country, and people are looking at this and going, yeah, we don't have to be stuck in these heavy tax zone states like New York and California anymore. We can do this somewhere else.
If you look over the last decade, a third of the movies came out of New Orleans. Another third came out of Atlanta. Actually, that's why they started calling it Hollywood South. There's just a shitload of them because it was cheaper. And it's a different thing. One of the reasons they like making movies down here is we don't bother anybody. There's no fan worship. None of that shit goes on down here. You can be the most famous person on the planet, walk down Bourbon Street. Nobody's even going to ask you for your autograph. Matter of fact, I've heard really famous people say, I kind of feel insulted because I know they know who I am, but they don't ask me for my autograph.
Who is that, Keanu Reeves?
Actually, several of them that keep places down here. And they just go walking around like early in the morning, quarter, because nobody bothers them. It's just a weird thing. Even when there's movie productions going on, and you do run into them all over the city. One freaked me out. They were filming that Wild Wild West vampire movie, and then they come driving up on 4 o'clock and one smoke going everywhere, flashing light. What the fuck's going on? Is there some kind of like dragon in his alleyway or something? It's time to whip out some magic, but it's just a movie being made. But it's like 4 in the morning, so. And they post these big orange signs everywhere they do them. And Atlanta's been making a lot of them too because it's cheaper down here. It's nicer down here. We have lots of old homes all over the place with unique styles in them. So it's just, and it's a good place to make them. The only thing they don't have down here is a lot of snow, but you can get that in Atlanta. So, and everybody's got mountains. We got gorgeous mountains all throughout the South. Beautiful vistas, golfs, casinos. Got the city of New Orleans, which they love to film there. They take shots in New Orleans. I love these. I'll be watching a movie, and I'm like, what? And I'll recognize the corner of the location, and they're making this big deal out of this. And I'm thinking, really? That's like Crackhead Alley. What the hell's going on here, man? Don't be showing tourists this shit. You're trying to get them killed? Oh, man. It's like when they tell you, go to Armstrong Park. Well, Armstrong Park's nice. Go in the daytime and don't go by yourself. Because you might not like what happens if it's in the evening. All cities have their good and bad thing. Kimberly wants to know what is the. Hold on, y'all. Spamming my email. Stop. Hold on. Kimberly wants to know what do I think Biden? Oh, what do we think Biden's best thing he's done so far is?
Nothing.
Not be on the news for 100 days.
I haven't seen him do anything that really helps the country out yet.
Exactly.
He's pretty much screwed our allies, and the only you know what? I did see him do one thing. He shut down a Canadian pipeline, but he told Russia they could send oil to Germany. Yeah, I really, everybody thought that because you can't have Germany being worried getting their oil from Russia. They need a different supply because if we go to war, you out of oil, Germany, you just became useless.
Well, didn't he at one time there was just a few last month there? Didn't he just unload a whole bunch of arsenal weapons that were sort of almost going to be reaching their due date so they can make more? So he sort of got a little bit of business there when he did in the Middle East.
Yeah, this guy has no clue what to even do with the Middle East. He's one of these presidents that'll get us into it. He's another Bush. He'll get us into a war if he's not crazy. And then
he's standing up to China.
Yeah.
over those islands. I mean, the South China Sea.
Yeah, but
Supposedly.
that's what I'm saying. That's Biden. Biden is don't back Biden in a corner. He's going to come out swinging. That's just who he is. If he would have been in charge when Kennedy did the missiles in Cuba, we'd have had World War III. Because he can't back down. I've watched him. Even Trump could back down. At some point, Trump got angry a lot of times, but sometimes he realized, you know what, I am wrong here. I need to back out of this. Biden can't do that. Biden's so dogmatic that it's just he's plunging forward. So Ping pissed him off. And this shit with his sons got him more pissed off because a lot of it's tied to China. Some of it's tied to Russia, but a lot of it's tied to China. And it looks like China was doing a lot of this on purpose to get the goods on his son.
It's all tied to money.
Yeah, of course, it's all tied to money. But I mean, you got a kid here, and I hate to call him a kid, but he didn't know what the hell he was doing. He's an amateur. He wasn't a politician. He wasn't a tycoon. He was a spoiled, rotten little rich kid whose daddy was a senator all his life, and his brother was whatever.
Kicked out of the Navy for cocaine.
Yeah, I mean, the kid was a mess, and he never got in any trouble. There was never any consequences in his life. He always got away with whatever it was he got away with.
Well, look who his father was too. Imagine, I get when you want to think about what his father probably did to those kids as children.
Yeah, I don't even want to know about that. And that's another thing that the country don't even stop to think about, because these kids are messed up, and I've seen lots of politicians' kids. I mean, Obama's kids so far they're doing pretty good. Bush's kids.
There's video of him that I have seen with Hunter Biden with Obama's oldest daughter, and there is a Black American Express in that video with I think her name's Sasha, whatever her name is, it starts with an S, Obama, and there's a white powder on it. Now I can't say what it is, but she is in this video. I've seen.
I wouldn't doubt it at all. I'm thinking I need to name my gun. Maybe I'll name it Obama.
Well, that even goes into
Martha. I'm leaving.
Well, you don't want it to work. So you want to be reliable.
You want it to turn on you, Joe, behind your back?
It's that's true. Never mind gun. We're sticking with Martha.
But that even goes into here that's happening in Canada, because there's stuff that's happened with this is coming out again. We've talked about it, and it's been mentioned many times there before about the Aboriginal or the Native Indian deaths that were over in BC, and this is just coming up in the news again there too as well about I think there's like 215 or 250 dead children bodies that they found at one of the Native Reserve schools up here, and this gets linked into what Pierre Elliott Trudeau and his dealings with China and his dealings with the royal family. And this gets into this whole part of this Jeffrey Epstein pedophile ring as well. And then you have our prime minister, his roommate was caught with all this child porn and child trafficking type stuff. And he's our prime minister. Yeah. And he's basically, our prime minister is the son of the prime minister who is a spoiled rich kid, right? And he got in there on this whole thing about legalizing marijuana. And you got all the millennial Gen Xers going, "Oh yeah, this is great, yeah." And they never ever thought about what this guy's policies were.
He's a good-looking guy. He's Obama light, is what he is. He's a charismatic guy. He's a good-looking guy, and he looks good in pink. I mean, he's got a nice little apple ass on him, but I mean, don't qualify you to run the country.
You know what? I didn't know about this, but it was Shady D and I were talking. She's in the chat room privately. And Canada's most notorious serial killer, I think it's Robert Pickman out in Alberta. Canada was in an uproar about 20 years ago when he got caught. He wouldn't tell the families where a lot of the bodies were. He was a pig farmer, so you can imagine how many bodies he got rid of. There's a reason why I'm mentioning this. There was like 64 women's bodies found on his property. But guess who has pictures of being at his farm? Trudeau, Justin Trudeau. There's all kinds of pictures. And his sister, the sister of this most notorious serial killer, is in his cabinet. So go figure.
Family.
It's just rich young kids. They're playing government, right? And they think that
that's what happens though when you got the money. Actually, Shady, there's a lot of Canadians in the South. For some reason they love it down here. Well, you got the Acadians, which are Canada, but they're Acadians. They're not Canadians.
Yeah,
they don't
Alfred
get called Canadians.
All about you on the Zoom.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because but there's a lot of Canadians down here for some reason. They're like, maybe it's because it's warm down here. They got tired of the cold, but No, they're just treated different down here. We don't really care that you're from Canada. The only thing that's not welcome in the South is liberals. Not because a friend of mine he said we don't like Yankees. He said no, we ain't got nothing against Yankees. They can come down all they want as long as they're not liberals. I said we don't really care. I said we don't care if you're in the middle. We don't care if you even lean a little left. We just don't like them Nancy Pelosi liberals. That's all. We just don't want them in our area. We want you to stay in California and New York and leave the rest of us alone. We don't want you effing up our cities. We don't have those kind of crime rates, and we don't want them. Well, except for New Orleans, it's unfortunately it's kind of bad crime rate, but it's good. No, Keith, I said that earlier. Mr. Pink Shorts is Justin Trudeau. Yeah, or Justin Castro is what his real name is. I mean,
Yes.
anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about. Now, calling Pink Shorts because somebody had posted, they probably had cropped this video, but he was in some really tight, hot pink shorts. I mean, these things were tight.
I don't think they cropped it, Joe. I think that he.
Yeah, that probably was because I've seen him in pink shirts and all too.
Yeah.
He's a good-looking guy. I ain't got anything against the guy. He's good looking, but unfortunately, and this doesn't just happen in America. It seems to happen all around the world. When you elect your politicians, you shouldn't elect them on. He's in some blue little hot pants shorts there. You shouldn't elect them because they're good looking or they speak well. You should elect them on what they've done.
He got in. I'm not kidding. I bet Del when he came out of nowhere. And when we heard he was going to legalize marijuana, I said to Del, he's going to get in. And he goes, no, he won't. Yeah, he got in. I think he
he's
got
good.
with the Dominion machines to get help himself.
See, America learns its lessons. Every now and then we put a good looking guy in, and he screws the country up. So we go back to the ugly guys. But we tried it with Kennedy, and he was a mess. And then Bill got in there and was playing with his weenie. And then Obama got in there, was just poor Obama. I actually feel sorry for Obama because when I listened to him the very first time I ever heard him speak, I said, yeah, he's still kind of Muslim. He's this, that, or everything. But he had an agenda he wanted to work, some of which would have been good for the country. But the liberals had other plans for him, and he could never get control of his. See, at least Biden is trying to take control of his party and his agenda. Obama never could do that. He never had that strength. He never had the confidence is what it was. Being a junior senator, he didn't have it. Biden
he was another person.
Senator.
Obama was a person that came out of nowhere too, though, right? Like
he
was farmed and he was groomed to get into that position because he bumped from being nobody even heard of him, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, he's running for president.
They found him in Chicago as a community organizer. He had pretty good popularity there. So they said they got him to run for Senate because they needed a black man to run for Senate, and he won the seat. It was actually
like AOC.
Yeah, but it wasn't even. It was a seat where the person had died. He was just coming in after, and he ran for seat, and he won it. When he put his hat in for election, he had been a senator for exactly 6 months. He had no political experience whatsoever. He had no economic experience. He was a community organizer, lawyer. That's what he did. And his wife was a lawyer. They did not have any. They should have never been. At least Trump was a businessman and understood how to fix money. He didn't know any. That's why our GDP never got over 1.3 because he never understood what it was to be wealthy. He was barely had any money when he got into office. He probably had $1 million or so, but he didn't really have a lot of money. And he got all of his money in while he was in his, what is he worth, $300 or $400 million? Now that all came because he was president. That should be illegal, by the way. But what can you do? It's time for a change in all of our countries. It's just time for change, and politicians need to be held accountable. They want to hold, I hear all the time, and I got a good friend of mine on this, a good liberal friend of mine. Well, cops need to be held accountable. I said, and so does Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. All of them do. I said, you don't think they don't need to be held accountable? How many times have they lied to us? How many times have they told us they're going to do this, that, or the other thing, and it never got done? And I said, about accountability? Shit.
That's a good segue into this next part there about this lying. Did you guys check out the Fauci email?
I tried to bring that up earlier. We weren't there though. Yeah, he's getting caught big time.
But there's a lot of other people that are involved in this, and if this goes even further, I'm not sure how this is going to be spun. Whether this is going to be spun through whatever, but there. A lot of U.S. money being in China with China back and forth talking and stuff like that. I'm not sure where this trail is going to come through.
He hired the Hillary Clinton cleanup team for email servers, I heard. So
yes,
all is well.
Yeah, but he lied on under oath too.
Oh yeah, they all do, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, they
Not
don't. I don't know if you go to jail for. I don't care who you are. Even Hillary would go to jail for that one.
How many of these people broke the law? Look at Comey. All the talk. Comey's going to go to jail. Comey's going to go to jail. Hillary's going to go to jail. Nobody ever goes
Oh yeah,
to
they do.
jail.
That's what they said.
Not those people.
Look, Edward was governor down here for 16 years, came back and ran for another 4, won, and served his term. Oh, he'll never go to jail. Oh yeah, he went to jail for 10 years too. He went to jail. It was a fancy, crazy jail, but he was a governor that went to jail. Democrats do go to jail, and eventually they have to. And a lot of people went to jail for Hillary. Just Hillary didn't go to jail, but a lot of one of her lawyers went to jail. A couple of other people went to jail. Susan Rice is still under investigation for shit. They sometimes they get away. The only ones that can really get away is the people with supreme power. That's why it's so hard to get Trump. He's so far up the totem pole. People don't want to piss him off because there's other ways to get even with people when you
Joe,
get that kind of power.
we have a child molesting president that's got a son who's a crackhead. I mean, like, you know what? You can't get any crazier. You can't even make that up. You can't even make that up.
We can prove his son's a crackhead, but you can't prove anything about Joe Sr.
Oh, I don't know. I've seen him touch tons of girls.
Hey, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, but I mean, unfortunately for us, we there's a standard of law in this country, and
there's a woman that said he raped her. So
there's more than one. There's like 7 or 8 of them. But the thing of it is, but that happens. Think about it. That every president for the last since Ronald Reagan has been accused of this.
And they all probably guilty of it.
Can't. Well, no, I don't think Reagan was, but. Reagan had Nancy, and I don't think George Bush did it either. I got to be honest with you. It's not the kind of people they were.
George Bush Sr. was notorious for
grabbing. I was talking about
Senior.
Senior
grabbing women who came close.
Yeah, no, Senior was a dog, but the 2 sons, the Jeb and they were Christians. They were raised by their mother.
Oh, like that fucking
Christians are
no. That's not what I didn't say Catholics.
Holy shit, dude.
There's a difference. There's a difference.
Oh yeah.
Almost all of the stuff you hear about comes from the Catholic Church. When you talk about the Baptists and all that, it's rare you ever hear anything coming out of their church.
Well, Christians worship a Jew, so what do you want from them? What do you want from them?
And you don't even hear that coming out of Jews. That's really a Catholic thing for the most part. And there's 1.5 billion Catholics, so you're going to have some issues there.
Well, Catholics, there's 50 million Catholics in the U.S. Only about 10% of them participate. And then, they got a lot of bad press, man, because all the stuff. There's people resigning because the Catholic Church hasn't done enough to go after the pedophiles. And it's a serious problem, but they keep looking the other way. And then, the Pope said it was an American problem only, right? American problem only. So you got people saying stuff like that.
I don't get me wrong. I mean, I haven't really heard of this problem being so much in other countries that it is here, but we don't know how much that's being covered up and shit like that. I guarantee
nuns that are having babies. I mean, Catholic nuns having babies and stuff like that.
I guarantee
it's unnatural what they do. You can't restrict yourself from sex, man.
Well, you can, but you just gotta know.
Well, if you're ugly or something, is one thing.
No, you just gotta learn. You gotta figure out a way to channel that energy. Though I mean, you can't just say no. Just sit there until you die. That's not going to work. But there's other ways to get.
Well, you have the Queen of England just congratulated the sex toy company for their years of hard work.
My God, man, Chip Cheerio. She's probably going to vibrate at home. They ain't wrong.
They get a special award. They get to put the royal stamp on their dildos now.
Dell told me he bought that 3-finger one, so I don't know what he's doing with it. But
it was the Jimmy Savile special edition.
An easy ride there.
I hear that love one is really popular with the ladies, so I don't know. Actually,
what do you think? What do you think about sex dolls?
No, we're not going there. Leave that out of here. Like I said, we digress. But getting back, let's go back to the world stage.
I think they're creepy, me personally.
Yeah, but I don't know. Some of them are really weird. We'll get in another. We'll do a show about that. We only got about 20-25 minutes, and we haven't really talked about what's going on around the world. So I know China's been probing in some places. I know the Philippines
probing.
What's his name? Duty. Who the hell names their kid Duty?
Duty head.
But anyway, he's having fits. But now there's like 6 different islands down here, the Japanese. So I noticed something about China. China's still a little leery about pissing off Japan for some reason. I guess because they kicked their ass twice, the little bitty island down there.
The
So
Japanese can turn into a war machine of unbelievable proportions in
yeah,
24
like a
hours.
hornet's nest, man.
20,
Like,
24 hours, man.
they're
You mess with
insane, is what it
Japan, and
is.
then boom, they're there.
But now it's all American technology.
They're not
Now.
allowed to because of our treaty with them.
Well, actually,
So
we've
they're not.
changed all that. I'm glad you brought that up. So the original treaty that we did after World War II has changed now. Germany has been given mostly freedom, and Japan has given mostly. See, so before Japan could only have a peacekeeping force. Germany couldn't even have that. Germany started 2 world wars. People, they were like, you can't have shit.
Yeah.
We don't even want you to have a pop gun, you crazy Germans. You started 2 world wars.
That's that Norm Macdonald joke, right? It says so about Germany starting 2 world wars.
I
So
mean,
we're gonna go and
everybody's like, "Oh, Japan did this." Yeah, but Japan didn't start the war. Japan just got into the war. Germany started that bitch, and so it's just one of the things. And with Japan, so we told them y'all could keep a peacekeeping force, and we started giving them stuff. And over the years, the United States started making Japan, putting them into roles where we needed to be. Well, Japan's gotten used to that now, so now they got their own submarines, their own air force again, their own navy again, and the U.S. has given them permission to start building again. I don't know why it's only the U.S. I'm sure. No, that's right. They had to surrender to the U.S. I guess it is the U.S. that has to give them permission, but because they surrendered unconditionally to the United States, there was no. That's condition. There ain't no condition. Just
when you
surrender.
drop 2 atomic bombs on an island, I guess.
Yes, we own your
more
ass.
peace.
Yes, we own you. This is how it's going to be until we decide to let you go, which we still haven't really. America, it was weird. There's a map that shows what the territory America controlled after World War II. It was 64% of the land mass on the planet. So we had basically, if you'd have thrown Europe in it, we had basically united the planet. And for some reason, the dumbasses, both American and Europeans were, we gave up a golden opportunity. We could have snuffed China and Russia out without starting a war, just by controlling the territories. But for some reason, we decided, well, we'll just give everything back. Like, why would we do that, people? These idiots started a war. Why are we giving this shit back? I didn't understand that, but
well, I guess the big problem that's going on is Taiwan, right? The province of Taiwan.
Yeah,
that's where all the hoopla is going on right now, right? Because China wants it back, and it's supposed to be still Taiwan's supposed to be under protection of the U.S. But now that Trump's out of office, Biden is ready to make deals. That's where the scary part.
Well, China did tell the Taiwanian president that he wouldn't let him come take them. So I mean, I don't know if he'll back that with weapons or not. China. What do you mean, Glenn? Yeah, China's technically, they say China does have a bigger navy. Who cares? They got 2 carriers that can't even launch airplanes. They got submarines can't even stay underwater for 24 hours. I don't think we're real worried about their navy. I think it'll get blown off the face of the planet just like the Russians will. You got to understand something, ladies and gentlemen. The U.S. isn't even going to be the one that takes out the Chinese Navy. Even though we'll be there to back them up, we won't be the one. The Europeans and the Indians will take out the Chinese Navy. The United States will just be running patrol to make sure the Russians don't get out of control and get too far out in the oceans.
India and China are about to go head to head, man. I mean,
and they might. They're looking nasty over there, the 2 of them. But the problem for India is
it's the time to do it because the pandemic's affecting India so much,
And China has a better army right now than India does. But unfortunately for China, India has 500 nukes. And they're not just going to lay down. They're going to nuke China. I mean, look, China, if you don't think India is going to, you got less a chance of getting nuked by America than India is going to nuke you. America may not, but India is going to nuke you. You can take that to the bank. And you can thank the Russians for that.
I mean, do you think that this is the time that people are going to do a mad push, or you think it's just more bullcrap, escalation?
I think Russia and China both. Russia had started testing the waters when they figured that Trump wasn't going to win, and they've been testing them every morning. They've been being turned back daily and all over the planet, not just in the U.S. And they're pushing it, and China's pushing to see what Biden's going to do. Trump wasn't going to put up with it. When China said, the South's trying to seize ours, we sent a whole fleet over there and said, really, no, it's ours. We control this. You don't control this.
So this comes into the question you just said there. He said, so if Biden gets backed in a corner, he will act. So if they're going to do stuff over there that doesn't involve the states in a major capacity, will Biden just let it go?
He might just let them roll it. I mean, if we're talking about little islands and shit like that, and they're not going to interfere with the U.S. passage through the straits, He might not.
And right now, economically, our economy is responding. It's lower jobs. I mean, things are getting better here. Lower jobless claims, that type of thing. They're reopening, even though I think it's crazy right now. But we stand better than anybody in the world for now. For today.
Well, the big issue though has to be is that there's a lot of manufacturing that goes on in Asia and around that area, huge shipping routes, and
Internet
a lot
too.
of stuff like that. So
Internet
yeah,
too.
and this is the thing though, that this indirectly and directly affects North American commerce and industry. Like there's issues that are there. It's not that it's just fighting over a few islands. These are shipping routes
for at least 13 countries. Yeah.
So, and that's applied to other countries. It's supply chain. You stop one thing, you kill the seed at the beginning, you don't grow a plant, right?
Pothead.
Yeah. So, it's going to be strange. Somebody the other day was screaming at me about COVID. Oh, this summer everybody's going to get together. I said, look, I don't care what y'all are saying. COVID's going to keep going down. I said, I know y'all want it to go back up. Y'all want this. Y'all want that.
In America or the world?
No, I'm talking about in America. I'm not talking about in the world. The world's got other issues they're going to have to deal with because we spiked like we were supposed to. April, we got really, really low, which was good to see. And then we spiked like everybody thought we were going to do in May because everybody was out playing. But now June, we're back down low again. We're down 300,000 cases in the last 2 weeks alone. So people are being smart. People are getting the shots. People are doing whatever they need to do. And some
wrong.
Out there. But
people stop getting the shots, and that's why they got lotteries now. They're announcing winners. Newsom announced the first 5 people that won.
That's why they did it. But that people are still getting the shots. They're just not getting them at the rate they used to.
No, they're complaining that they're not is the problem, and then we have a whole new campaign that we're doing, trying to get people vaccinated. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you, people think it's over, and they think that they don't have to get it. They see the mask coming off. They see, but they've allowed, now they're allowing full capacity in bars and restaurants, and people can party all night long. It's like it was, but initially it was supposed to be over if you're vaxxed, you could take your mask off outside. It went from that to this, and now it's a flood. It's too late. People aren't going to go backward. They're going to only go forward unless they're scared of something. Then they'll do what they got.
The reason why people are going to be like that is because everybody's been wrong for the last 4 months. Everybody kept saying it was going to be spikes in the U.S., and there's not. It keeps trending down. And in the states where they said it was going to be bad, like in Texas and Florida, it's almost non-existent. So they've been completely wrong about this. And I don't even know why they don't understand why they're wrong. But because they're looking at it the wrong way.
You mean the CDC?
Yeah, the CDC's been wrong about it the whole entire time.
Because they have a politician running it. Politicians, man.
You know what gets me is Mexico's actually doing better than the States or Canada is.
March 27th of 2020, Redfield, who was the head of the CDC, and he's still the head of the CDC, basically, he went on and said America had no problem with COVID-19, didn't have to worry about it. It wasn't going to affect us. It was already in some nursing homes in Washington and whatever, in New York, but he said, we don't have anything to worry about. And look what happened. And obviously, these people get paid to know. I don't have these degrees. I'm just some schmuck who does, numbers, man, who crunches numbers. These people are supposed to know. They're the ones who have all the education. They're the ones who are supposed to know. But they're politicians.
Let me see if I can put this. What time is it? Let me see if I can put this map up. This map is weird, the way this looks. Let me see. Where is the share the button at? Here we go. Share screen.
But when we end up knowing more than them, there's a huge problem. And then all you got to do is look at the numbers. When people challenge me on numbers, I'm like, they're just numbers. Okay. In India right now, people aren't getting tested, so you can't trust those numbers. So sometimes numbers.
But this is what's weird about this. So this is current. This is from the New York Times. The current outbreak thing. So when you look at South America, this is just from the WHO and the CDC is all it says. I just put it out. But look at South America. So with the exception of Venezuela, which is a communist country, so we don't even know if we're getting all the facts.
Right.
This is a plague. You got purple down here so bad.
It's very bad.
Brazil is ridiculous.
The map is wrong. Russia has a huge problem right now. And so does South Africa.
Yeah, but
Malaysia.
But they're only doing it by day cases. And
anybody connected to India. I spoke to a guy in India. He was a telemarketer. He called me today. So I started talking to him about India.
And he said that. Account number?
I
was like,
got a question for y'all.
no, listen, man. I was like, what are you guys going to do there? He said, there's no leadership. There's nothing. He didn't know, people are locked inside. They don't even have food, and then they don't know what to do. I was like, okay, I'm going to go finish my cheeseburger. I'll see you later, man. And then I hope it's not one of your ancestors, dude. But really, I mean, they have a serious issue, and there's no direction. And so there's a website called Down Detector, right? You can go to, and it shows you every internet service basically if they're going up, down, and they measure it by complaints. So if AT&T goes down or whatever, all these Indian companies and servers are going down. And it's very interesting to watch this happen, but you don't really hear about a lot of it. You just have to look at the numbers.
But you got to wonder that why are those servers going down when they're having conflicts with China? There could be other issues to this too as well. It can't be just one thing there that it's you're saying that
COVID's ravaging their country.
That's not true, though, Michael.
Yeah, no, it is true because it's in the rural areas and they don't even get reports. I mean, people are just dying, and they're either sailing them down the river, or they're burying them in shallow graves, or they're burning them. But my point is, 7 weeks ago, this is a country that said they had beaten COVID. The numbers were down. They were at herd immunity, and they had declared victory. Here we are 7 weeks later, and they can't burn bodies fast enough. So that's just something to pay attention. It's part of humanity that gets very egotistical, saying we beat it. COVID's not going to go away because people said we beat it. It'll go away from proper mitigation.
Yeah, if they stay on, it'll go away. But the thing about it is with all the research that came out about the mask and social distance, most of it turned out to be bullshit. So that's the only thing that really helped was people staying home. And
I asked for the science. First they said wear the mask, then they said don't wear the mask, then they said wear scarves and bandanas, then they said scarves and bandanas don't work. You know what I mean? Or they said people wearing the mask only kept COVID in if they had COVID, but if you didn't have COVID, it was, I don't know, back and forth.
But what you would think is, you would think now, after a year and a half of COVID, a company would go out there and invent something that we could all use. That would work great for like the flus and stuff in the future.
A Darth Vader mask.
Yeah, but so far nobody. But getting back to these masks. So this shows you something about poor Canada right off the bat. So here's Canada with 2,100. Yeah, but not serious. They got 21 cases a day. That's what they've got. Yep. So Mexico has got 2,500. Yeah. So y'all 2,100 a day. Mexico's 2,500 a day, but yet Mexico is in better standing than Canada is.
What do you? Oh, New York Times. What year is that from?
That's just from like a couple of days ago.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, that's where it's from. And
I don't trust anything in New York Times.
That's current. Well, yeah, you can see what it says because that's where the U.S. is. We've been trending down for the last 14 days, no problem.
I'll tell you.
Russia's barely trending up. India's finally starting to trend down a little bit. What's Naples?
This is the part that has to be sort of looked at. Okay, so you got all through Asia, the Middle East, and through Africa. It's basically, you can say, is third world country type conditions. People living in shanty towns on top of each other, don't have masks and stuff like that. And there was this COVID going through there, and they don't have anywhere close to the numbers that were going on in the USA and Canada, and the reactions of everything that was going on. And I don't care what your numbers say there, Michael, that you're getting in from anywhere. This is actual facts from the CDC and stuff like that. And I've watched this stuff 500 times, and they're going,
the World Health Organization. World Health Organization saying that there's 2,064 confirmed cases today in Canada. 2,064.
Well, see, that's down from the map we were just reading.
Today in Canada, they're saying 46 deaths.
That doesn't mean people sick either. They're making people get.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. That's actually lower than the map we were just looking at. That's actually a lower number. The map we were just looking at was showing 2,200. So that just still shows they're trending down. Canada's still trending down.
Our test.
Well, yesterday was 1,632. Then was 2,006. I mean, so it fluctuates, but yeah, it's on the downturn in Canada because people are it makes sense. It probably really hasn't gone down. I mean, The last time it was at this level was in February. So,
Why don't
you got to
look
look at the
what we
numbers.
set the PCR testing for much higher than what most of the world and what the World Health Organization, the CDC, has said. These are just cases. It's not people in hospitals. It's not people sick. People are being forced to get tested. The schools just closed here in Ontario now till September. Kids were being forced. Nurses are being forced 3-4 times a week to go get tests every time before they go to work. Like I said, that means nothing, cases. I'm sorry, but it doesn't.
That's all it is. Okay. They got a lot.
Canada,
Canada.
Exactly.
But y'all just suck shot getting locked down because actually, Gene, that's the New York Times. That was for the CDC. That was their as of yesterday.
But I thought you guys were reopening the border. I mean, I saw all kinds of stuff about this going on.
The border is reopening in some places. They're just not for Canadians. They're letting Americans in. They're just like screw the Canadians.
Let's go in there, Joe, and party, man. Let's go there and party.
You know what this is
Why
about.
don't you guys just take us out of here with you so we can get the heck
Well, you know what this is about. You
Gonna
got
smuggle you out.
Well, you got businesses in Canada now that either have to open or close. And, they can't be – Canada can't have a bunch of its businesses going bankrupt. They're at the point where the United States was. Either open up or just know your country's going to become a disaster.
Ontario, the way we are, because it's indefinite now till December 1st when it's relooked at again, we will be a ghost town. The whole province will be a ghost town. Honestly. Because you can't buy anything. All you can buy is groceries and pharmaceuticals.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Even baby items are blocked off. Like since when are diapers not a necessity and everything else for babies?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
And no one's challenging it. Like nobody can do it. Isn't that's crazy, right? I mean,
most people are asleep here, and their big comment is, well, if people would just do what they're told, this would end, instead of really looking at anything. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And, breaking news. Wendy's giving away free Frosties every Friday this month.
All right, man.
I don't know why I got that sent to me, but okay. I got all kind of weird shit sent to me in my email. Here's somebody.
They're called ads.
No, these ain't.
I think
spam.
What concerns me more, since we're talking about this, is that, and many parents as well, 12 to 15-year-olds being able to go sneak into wherever, not tell your parents, not have consent, and be able to go get a vaccination. And it's not even the talk about the vaccine; it's the fact that a parent should be with a child when you're.
So what do y'all consider indigenous species in Canada?
In New York, the HIPAA laws, they're trying to make it so your 12-year-old doesn't have to tell you what's going on with them medically.
That's what's happening here.
Isn't that crazy?
Here, and that's scary. Indigenous means First Nations people, as far as I consider Indigenous people, or Aboriginal and Indigenous First Nations.
Hey, I was born into this earth, so I am indigenous.
If you're born in Canada, you're indigenous? No.
I was born in El Paso, Texas, which is even freakier.
They cut off, what's his name on CNN? It says veteran Mike gets cut off after giving credit for Black history. Damn, they getting pissy over there. CNN.
It sounds like a race-baited thing, doesn't it?
Well, CNN's been having issues. So they got the Comey brother problem, which they're in trouble for that. They're saying that's an ethics violation. And then this guy, CNN's been getting called out a lot for a lot of racists. See, now that they don't have Trump to pick on anymore, all their racist stuff is starting to be shown. How
they're
racist
bored.
Media is. But what's even better about this is we get to compete evenly now. What I mean by that, let me see if I can show you all this, if I can get it to come up on the screen. Hold on.
With CNN?
It's, I could give it, about CNN, but we can compete with anybody now because they're in the same boat we are for the level. Let me show y'all.
So I hear this UFO report might come out on Tuesday, man.
It's already out, technically.
My sources tell me. Yeah, it's all redacted. No one's going to learn anything from this stupid.
No. What came out today is the military officially said that they are real. We don't know what they are, but they're not alien. That was their official statement.
We officially don't know.
But somehow they know it's not alien.
Brought to you by your $750 billion military budget. They just got invaded by a bunch of balls of light. We don't know what it is. So good night, folks.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can turn this.
And if anybody buys that,
This is what I'm talking about. You see what's on the screen right now?
Yeah.
Okay, it's no different
Oh
than what
God,
we're
I hate
on.
those things where a bunch of idiots are talking about nothing.
But what I'm
They
saying
cherry pick
is,
one line, and all of a
but
sudden,
this is important. This right here shows you that anybody right now, anybody can compete with CNN or NBC because they have to broadcast the same way we do.
yeah.
They're in the same boat. There's no more of this in studio stuff. Everybody's doing it from home. You can see all the different backgrounds, and it's more than that. They're not even setting up studios because even inside CNN and NBC, and Carol told me this about NBC, they just have you sitting at your desk and they just dial up on whatever program they're using, and now you're on the air. So with NBC and all the rest of them doing this, it really gives all of us, it really levels the playing field. So
It
anybody can
makes
do
our
some decent
shitty
stuff.
looks good because everybody else is doing it.
No, we didn't have
You
a
see,
shitty look.
you see that idiot on the Daily Show, that Trevor Noah. The guy bought a $27.5 million mansion, and I'm like, looking at this dude. I looked at his ratings. He's ranked 80th at a contemporary shows. There's only 80 of them. You know, I mean, how can you be dead last? And no one watches you. I mean, people used to talk about the Daily Show when Jon Stewart was on there. You know, hey, did you see the Daily Show? Whatever. No one talks about it now. I tuned into this dude. He is like the biggest hater, and he's not funny, but he's that young cute guy from South Africa who's here, and I think he gets a pass for a lot of reasons. But damn, I just don't get it, man. I don't get it. And Jon Stewart is funny. He's a cool guy, but whatever. That's the world. That's the world we're in. That's why I'm going to Thunder Bay to watch some lightning with my friends, man. I'll bring the steaks.
Okay.
I'll bring steaks and
Don't
bourbon,
bring
man.
the beer. You gotta have some.
You know what? My friend's got a fast ass boat. I can just like be right there, and then be out of there. By the time Trudeau gets to me, I'll be gone.
You seen that panel I just put up, right? It was a nurses panel on vaccination.
That's what I figured. It was a nurses panel.
Yeah, there was a nurses panel on vaccinations are at 1 million a day. So it's going down. It's not going down like everybody said it was, but it's going down. It's still 1 million.
I'll tell you something. They stopped the Johnson & Johnsons, and then it's very, very low key. They're not really talking about it, which is interesting.
It's down here.
There's a Canadian doctor that came out last night, and he is not anti-vax in any way, shape, or form. And he is coming out saying we made a mistake. Many doctors are.
They're saying it's not gone, but it's hard to get, so-called, which is bullcrap. And then the Moderna really is the one that's holding the strength against this mutation, probably about in the 50% zone. But this is my question for all of you. And I'm watching these vaccination numbers, and I've been educated on the subject, but they say, okay, 1 million people got vaccinated, and about 1,100 of them came down with COVID, right? Because but they're looking at those numbers, but the rest are protected. But out of 1 million people, how many would have been exposed to COVID? How many would have gotten COVID? And how many would have died from COVID? The numbers just don't add up. They just don't add up. Why are they doing? Why is it so extreme?
You don't hear my thoughts on the vaccine.
I mean, it really is very. And then, of course, in America, 32 million people have gotten COVID and gotten over it, and those are numbers reported. There's a lot of people who have gotten it who had either the asymptomatic or they got it and didn't report it. They had symptoms, they didn't report it. So let's double that number to 64 million. I think we can safely do that. You know what? So 64 million Americans, if they've already had it, are pre-positive, right? Then you have the 1/3, so-called, who have been vaccinated. They lie saying 289 million shots given out. Well, some of those people got 2 shots. So really, it's 1/3 of the public. So add that with the other number from the pre-positives. It's just the drive and the lure and the money, the lottery, all these things don't add up, man. They just don't add up. I don't know.
It adds up into somebody's bank account, because listen, this is a really funny thing about the world's philanthropist, Bill Gates, out there about going and protecting and saving the world and doing all this stuff there. And then they ask him the question. It says, hey, well, you guys have the coding there for the vaccine. Says you're going to give that freely out to other companies so to do that? No, it's going to cost them money.
Yeah.
I need the money in my bank account. So you have to go and stop and think about, hey, is he really a philanthropist, or is he all in it for the money, right? because they glorified him on CNN about how great he was a guy, and he's going to be the helper to help humanity. And all these philanthropists are all a load of whatever shit.
I'm not anti-vaccine, especially for the older crowd, the at-risk groups, because if you start, oh, now I got it, man. You start dividing groups up of who's more in danger than others. It's different. But now with the Indian mutation, it's going after people under 40. It's affecting children. This rare condition of the swelling of organs is coming out. It's going after their skin. And there's a whole bunch of new symptoms. And all this is happening as the days go on, and I'm just watching it and like, wow. I'm watching it just like I did in 2020 when the whole thing started. When we were right here talking about the very same thing, and then the government was saying what? Oh, it didn't exist, or people are saying it's a hoax, that kind of stuff. People, same place. Yeah. When are we doing the paranormal squares, man? I mean, every time I look at this little screen, I feel like we need to do it.
Well, I'll say that if anybody wants to, I talked about this on my show there last time there. If anybody wants to look at this Dr. Hodgkinson interview, it was on the channel The Last American Vagabond. You can watch that on YouTube. It's about an hour and 20 minutes. He'll explain a lot of stuff there about what went wrong and with this whole vaccine stuff. And it's a whole different point of view that you should actually listen to, because it's really well done. And this guy's virologist, pathologist, and many years dealt with Fauci and stuff like that. And he's not a fan of Fauci either. So it's a very good show.
With Dr. Rima Labo and Ralph Fusatola, and Dr. Rima's been talking about this since 2009. She was on, actually, I think she was talking about this on Jesse Ventura's show, and it was only shown once, the interview. So we talked quite a bit about that. It was an interesting interview.
So it's the aftermath now, right, of COVID-19. Are people going to be held accountable? Doctors, hospital systems, like what we've heard down in Queens?
Nuremberg trials, too, are starting in Germany.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, so many people had died needlessly, and these hospitals were making money. They knew what they were going to get per person. You've seen videos on YouTube from nurses that put stuff out there. I mean, there's people need to be held accountable. Then you got a governor who lied about tens of thousands of deaths and saying he lied to protect the truth. So, yeah.
There are two doctors losing their jobs and losing their professional organizations going after their licensing here. There's a nurse I know in the UK. There's a couple in Canada. There's a doctor out in BC that just lost half his income, could have taken his admitting privileges away, speaking out about what he's seeing. So
I think we're going to have to close down the Americas to the world. I'm looking at this. More than 2 billion COVID vaccinations given worldwide. That's pretty good considering there's 7 billion of us. But the majority of those have only been given in 10 countries. China's given out 705 million. United States has given out 279 million, which means we've actually got about 160 million vaccinated. India's done 221 million. Brazil's at 70 million. Britain's at 66 million. Britain's at 66 million. Well, that's almost their whole population. Germany's at 52. Russia's at 29. But your 10 countries make up the majority of the 2 billion. Why are we even bothered if we're going to keep the countries open if all the rest of the world's not going to get vaccinated?
Exactly.
You better get out there and start
because this COVID virus is finding its way around vaccines, plain and simple. And then you have a new variant from the Indian variant, which is even more, let's just say, infectious because it's aerosolized. But like the mask, it's N95, right? Keeps out 95% of particles. But COVID and the rest of that is that top 5%. I don't know. The whole thing just really, if you put it in just black and white and look at it, a lot of it just doesn't add up.
The 95 means just wait and see. The nanometers of spaces in between the meshing there. It's not 95%. It's
95% of particles. Do you know?
That's
look
not
it up.
What M95 means. Yeah.
N95.
You know, personal protective equipment. Well, then I think you've looked up the wrong thing, because the N95 means for the spacing there and what it is in the fabric that I'm blocking.
I haven't seen anything other than
blocking something.
Yeah. Other than one of the OSHA certified respirators, I haven't seen anything else that would stop COVID.
Yeah.
It's I don't argue with them about it because I got OSHA certified a long time ago because of the spray stuff we use. But none of now I got my gig ones. I go put that on. That'll stop COVID. That stop anything, man. That stop damn radiation shit.
Put on your
For a
space
little
helmet.
while till it melts it, but and then we did anyway. But still, no, because I mean there was a couple of people who did experience. We did one where what you do is it always bothered me that they said, well, go stand 6 feet in front of somebody. I said, okay, let's. So what we did is you put somebody breathing and you just light up the smoke around so you can see the smoke going around them. Well, people forget when you're breathing in and out, it's hot air. So hot air rises above your head.
Let me say this. Right, an N95 filtering face piece respirator, right, is known for keeping out the classification of air filtration, meaning it filters at least 95% of airborne particles. So, Del, before you say something like that, look it up.
Yeah,
you have to make me do your homework. No one's gonna watch your delicious.
I think they mean like
because people are like, oh, there's no information.
Okay, Michael Angley. No.
So 95% of particles. Listen, dude, I don't know what you do. I work in the business. It's 95% of particles. So if you look at COVID-19 and other viruses, they go way above 5%. Way above 5%. You don't.
But that doesn't actually mean anything. All it means is it blocks out 95% of particles. Well, 95% of pollen.
Then you're breathing heavier.
You're
breathing heavier to pull the air in and push the air out. So you're actually drawing air in from further away.
Yeah, well, that's the problem.
You know the difference in classifications of dust masks and how that goes up there and goes in through masks there?
I just read you the classification from the manufacturer. So you know more than 3M, the manufacturer. That's great.
Of course we do, man.
I'm going to buy Dell's masks from now on.
But there's not a mask.
It's smaller. It goes through it, and I'm a nurse. I will tell you.
But this is an easy thing. This was never an argument. This was always an easy thing to prove. All you had to do is go into any spray room anywhere, breathe in, and what were you going to see? You were going to see shit all around your nose, all around your mouth, because it didn't stop anything, because it didn't matter about the mask, because it came in from the side and the top. The masks were a joke. And when you breathe out, heat goes over your head. It sits there for at least 12 minutes. So if any of that time somebody walks up to where you were standing, all that shit's going to come right down and settle right on top of their head because you're standing on the blue dot where the other person was standing. It was like a way to spread the disease. It never made any sense to me. I'm like, people, you do know air heats up, right? You're breathing, it's hot air. Heat rises, and when it cools, it does what? It sets back down. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, and the mask, it just shoots in from the sides. Even the respirators, I mean, you can watch when I get my respirators on, the big things, there'll still be a dust. It won't get into my nose and my mouth, but you can still see the dust line all the way around the mask, and that bitch is on my face. I mean, it's because once you start breathing, it sucks up to you. You're kind of like, it does kind of sound like Darth Vader, actually. Because I'll walk around at work. I'm not sure.
I have an awesome Israeli gas mask that'll keep out all that stuff, but it's very complicated.
Yes, it is, and you don't want to be using it. Somebody might think you're damn.
Well, it's horrible to breathe through that thing. I use it to change my cat litter box.
But that's the point. I mean, this always was about making people feel better. That's why Fauci got in trouble so many times.
It worked.
Yeah. Fauci's job was trying to panic people, and everybody was telling him, "Don't panic people, make people feel better." Oh, so wear a mask. That'll do the trick.
He's a politician, though.
Well, Fauci's in big trouble. So, and that's another great thing. I think it's so funny.
Well,
I think it's so funny
said that China didn't engineer it. It turns out they did engineer it, and we paid them to do it. So, yeah, it's
that gives Trump. That
truth
gives Trump
is damn ugly.
But that gives Trump a big lawsuit because remember the media kept saying he was crazy. It wasn't a Wuhan. All that stuff was nuts. He was nuts. It was conspiracy.
No, it goes deeper because the original report said the CDC was actually the ones who owned the patent on this virus. And it makes much more sense if they gave China the money to do this and then they worked on it. Oh, yeah, it makes a hell of a lot of sense.
That's illegal now in our country. We're not doing that shit no more. And I think
illegal for people who make the laws, they don't care.
Yeah, but when it's illegal, that means somebody's going to jail. So they do care. Even politicians don't want to go to jail. Unfortunately for them, when America
George Bush Jr. was the one who legalized working on bird flu again and other things. The stuff they do on Long Island, Fisher's Island, Gardeners Island. Those places were well known biological pits. I mean, it's crazy, but yeah, it gets out too, doesn't it?
Biological chemical testing in this country is supposed to be outlawed for the last 40 years.
The bird flu was the Spanish flu. The Spanish flu wiped out hundreds of millions of people. Was the bird flu. Now we've got this COVID, so whatever.
Well, we're going to always have something because humans are pigs. We're gonna until humans can bring themselves out of the dungeon and the dirt and the slop and the shit. They're gonna always be diseases because when you're living in slime, it breeds diseases. That's
This
just
didn't
part of
happen
it.
by accident.
It doesn't matter. We're still happening. That's the point. All of, like the Black Plague, which is still far more deadly than COVID ever was, happened because of what? Who was
No.
spreading it around? Rats.
In India, it's the black fungus now. Do you see that one, man? It's killing thousands of people. Oh my God!
And then there were some diseases that ran through the Indians that nobody even knows what the hell they were. So I mean, and we watch what chickenpox and measles could do to civilizations. So we know these things are going to happen. Instead of being preparing ourselves for them and banning all Canadians from our country because they're disease carriers, no,
We're going to have to save Canadians, man. I got a friend with a barge too. Maybe we can just kind of float up there.
You know what we could do? We could stage a fortune. That's what we could do. We could go up right there in the lake and stage a 4th of July fireworks show.
For
Put
asylum,
the ramps out.
but Canadians can't apply for asylum in the U.S. Come
No,
on, we
they
welcome
white
that.
people. What are you talking about? Canadians are white people.
Out of
They
this
can't
whole
apply for
thing there,
asylum.
so where do you lay the blame on in the part of this? Okay, if you want to even lay blame on this, okay. So you have this gain of function, even just these people, virologists, working with digging up old viruses and testing them in labs that have been under scrutiny for whatever it is. If they would have left these things buried, we wouldn't be in this situation in the first
Yeah, but
place.
it's worse than that. You know what was going on, that what we just really outlawed, right? So the United States was using taxpayers' money to take a diddly virus and make it more diddly.
Right, exactly.
We didn't want it to be
that's the
nice and
problem.
friendly. We wanted it to white. But this is what bothers me about this. This has always been a law in this country and for most countries. Anytime you develop a virus like this, you always develop a cure because you don't want your military and you don't want your important people getting sick.
Right.
So you have to wonder what was going on here. Obviously, there was a cure somewhere because China's death rate so far into America's, it's not even funny. And I mean, their population is so much larger than ours, and they was out of control for 4 months before it ever got to us. You just got to kind of wonder what's going on over there. But there's always supposed to be a cure.
They just locked down Gangnam province because of the Indian variant, and they're ahead of the game. They locked it all down ahead of the game. They got a lot of infections, and
well, see, that's the problem. If the
waiting.
Indian gets into Canada, we ain't never going to see the Canadians. They may take him offline. It might be. We may have to stage a coup just to get his ass out of there. Look, Trudeau, I know where you live, buddy. I will come up there. Look, let me explain something to you, Trudeau. There's only 38 million Canadians, and they're not all going to fight for you, buddy. So we'll send California up there to kick your ass.
We'll send Dell.
California.
Dell will kick Trudeau's ass, man. Punch him right in his Adam apple. Cyclops punch right to his Adam apple. That's New York style, Brooklyn style.
You got Mexico down there opening wide up. You got Europe starting to open wide up. Canada's got one of the lowest rates on the map, but yet, nope.
That's because
I'm going to make those free Canada stickers, man.
They need to seize control somehow, right? That's why they keep on putting.
So wait, how long does Trudeau get to stay in office for? There's another election. I mean,
are they actually threatening you to get the vaccine? Or, like you can't go out unless you have the vaccine?
The same thing. Why do you think his dad ended up in power for over 8 years? We don't have the rules that you guys do.
Man.
Elections.
Yeah, they're going at a percentage rate that they believe that vaccines are there to help people and healthy people do not take vaccines, especially if you've had something or you might have even had it. There's parts about antibodies and stuff like that. And there's so many doctors that are talking about this at all and problems with vaccines and that. That's why I said, check out this Dr. Hodgkinson's interview there on The Last American Vagabond. He talks all about this stuff there, and he dealt with this.
And I agree, there are problems with vaccines, but without them, we would still have smallpox.
I think there's good parts of vaccines.
They've literally wiped out some of the most horrible diseases on the planet.
Before you take something in your body, usually you talk to a doctor, and they have like your medical history and your workout and that. All medicines don't work equally for all people, and that's the truth.
They don't.
Well, yeah, we know the CDC has all weaponized all kinds of stuff, right? But they have facilities there they keep it in. You know, China, they're terrible with their security. They knew that when they were building that facility. They knew something was going to get out, and it did. So it didn't shock anyone.
Yeah, but now
maybe on CNN, because when Trump said it came from China, they immediately had to pull their defiance disorder and say, but it didn't, you know, like whatever he said, that they had to say the opposite. That was kind of just.
I can tell you this: Ping got nervous the other day when Biden used the word restitution for the Wuhan. So now, what's the media going to do now? Because Biden called it the Wuhan virus now. That's Trump's own little word. He coined his own phrase.
Well, Trump's was a vagina virus, right? Gina.
And now they originally he called it the Wuhan virus, and they kept giving him shit about it, so he called it the China virus, and they gave him shit about that. Now they got to backtrack. So in the media they don't realize how bad they look to everybody when they do this. But we got to go because Kathy Belsky's coming up next with her quantum leaping across the planet. She's going to quantum leap. We got a lot of guests coming on next couple weeks because voting starts for the 3 shows we have. I think June 30th, actually.
We talked about COVID. You sure you don't want to talk about sex dolls, man? I mean,
yeah,
you really want to kind of push it out there on YouTube?
Actually, I'm going to delete that out of here because I don't want that going out on the whatchamacallit. Yeah. Actually, these shows starting to get edited now, man. They're up for awards. I ain't playing around with that shit. I edit all kind of stuff out of them now. It's
Is that why they're 5 minutes long now?
They ain't 5 minutes long. They'll always be close to 2 hours, but there's always stuff that needs to come out of them. It's the more they get noticed. I mean, because we won an iHeart Water this year. I'm gonna post it up on the thing, and it looks like Writers of the Future is going to win one of the People's Choice Awards, and we'll see what kind of voting we get, but they're definitely going to win one of the People's Choice Awards for sure. And then we got a lot of people listening, so we might get lucky. Yeah, I wish they'd give me some money. I'd be more happy.
Get up there and dance, man.
Money.
You gotta go stripping. Get up there, people put some dollars between those cheeks.
That ain't gonna get you for the news, baby. That would get you for a different audience. That ain't the kind of audience this show's got, so that ain't gonna help you now.
I don't know.
That ain't gonna help you.
AVN award.
AVN.
I see. Y'all was getting bitched at in the chat room about talking over each other a little while ago.
People go fuck themselves.
And you can't be saying that. You in the wrong.
Makes radio interesting. Add that out, fuckers.
Hey,
sit on it and spin, you bastards. I've been angry lately. I even yelled at the girl at Dunkin' Donuts.